The starry sky at the border of the galaxy is as deep as ink, and the patrol ship Thunder glides quietly in the endless void, patrolling the border areas of the Alliance like an alert hound. Zihao stood in the center of the bridge, with his hands behind his back and his eyes locked on the holographic display in front. That was his habit. Whenever a routine patrol started, he always liked to look out for himself, as if there were countless secrets hidden among the stars, waiting for him to discover. "Captain, today's star map looks too calm. Not even a small meteorite bothers to greet us." Adjutant Chinchua turned around from the communication station with a teasing smile on her lips. She is Zihao's right-hand man, always so calm, her hair is neatly tied, and her eyes are wary of the unknown. Everything is normal on the communication channel, and there is no trace of the rebel signal. Zihao smiled, turned around and leaned on the command chair. "It's better to be too calm, Chinchua. But you know, I'd rather have a little excitement. In these border star fields, who knows if an ancient ghost will pop up around the next corner?" His voice was full of enthusiasm, and his eyes sparkled with the adventurous light of a young man. As the youngest patrol ship captain in the Alliance, he is only 28 years old, but has already led patrols for 3 years. Courage is his trademark, and he can always make decisions in crises and convince the crew. Exciting? Be careful not to spill the captain's blood in space. Chinchua shook her head and continued to monitor her screen. Her fingers flew across the virtual keyboard, scanning the surrounding electromagnetic waves. "Zhong Han, what's going on over there in the engine room? Don't work on your little inventions again and delay the patrol." The communicator in the engineering room buzzed, and Zhong Han's slightly nasal voice came, "Adjutant, I am as stable as an old dog here. The engine operating rate is 98%, and the shield is full. To be honest, if I hadn't been training every day, this old ship would have fallen apart long ago. You guys on the bridge only know how to drink tea and chat." Zhong Han is a technical geek in his early 40s, with messy hair, and always wearing oil-stained work clothes. He loved the ship as much as his life, but he never spared anyone. Zihao laughed. "Zhong Han, stop complaining. When the patrol is over, I'll treat you to a bottle of the treasured old Earth wine. I remember you fixed the faulty thruster last time and saved our lives." "Deal. But Captain, don't rush into the asteroid belt to chase the rebel reconnaissance plane like last time. It almost gave me a heart attack." Zhong Han's laughter echoed in the communication, and the atmosphere on the bridge suddenly became much more relaxed. "Everything is in order." The Thunder moved along the predetermined route, scanning the surrounding star field. The conflict between the Galactic Alliance and the rebels has been going on for decades, and the separatist forces are hiding on the border, waiting for opportunities. Patrol ships, such as the Thunder, are small and medium-sized warships that are the eyes on the front line, responsible for alerting against unknown threats and anomalies in ancient ruins. Those ruins are mysteries discovered when humans expanded the galaxy. It is said that they contain lost alien technology that can subvert the pattern of war. But more often than not, they are just silent stones, reminders of humanity's insignificance in the universe. Zihao looked out the window, and the instructor's words during training flashed in his mind: "The unknown is not the enemy, but an opportunity." He took a deep breath and adjusted the badge on his collar. It was the symbol of the Alliance captain, a silver star wheel. He loves this job, not only for the responsibility, but also for the longing for the stars. From the day he graduated from military school, he dreamed of piloting a battleship and exploring the edge of the galaxy. Suddenly, the bridge's warning light flashed, and a low buzzer sounded throughout the space. The red warning spread on the holographic screen, showing the energy fluctuation curve of the nearby star field, as sharp as a knife. Alert! Abnormal energy readings are coming from the asteroid belt in the southeast. Chinchua's voice suddenly became sharp, and her fingers worked quickly to amplify the data. The intensity is 10 times higher than normal. It is not a natural phenomenon. There may be alien interference or a hidden device of the rebels. Zihao immediately stood up straight and walked towards the podium. "Attention all ships, enter the alert state. Zhong Han, check all systems to ensure that we will not be fooled by this thing. His tone was calm, but revealed unquestionable courage. The crew moved quickly, and the atmosphere on the bridge changed from leisurely to tense. "Roger, Captain." My instruments also captured it. The energy wave pulsed like a heartbeat. "It's not a signature signal of the rebels, but it's definitely unusual." Zhong Han's voice came from the communicator, filled with excitement. "The shield is being upgraded, give me a minute." Zihao stared at the screen, calculating quickly in his mind. Routine patrols should avoid unknown areas, but this fluctuation is too weird. If it's a new weapon of the rebels, missing it would be a dereliction of duty. If it's a signal from the ruins, it might be a big discovery. He knocked on the podium. "Qinshua, contact the nearby patrol team and report the situation. But we won't wait for reinforcements. This is our responsibility." Qinshua frowned slightly, but did not object. "Understood, Captain. The communication is sent out. But, the map of this area is blank and the risk is high." A trace of worry flashed in her eyes. She was always like this, rational to the point of being cautious, and had an instinctive fear of the unknown. But she trusted Zihao's judgment. "Risk is fun, isn't it?" Zihao smiled and sat in the command chair. "Adjust course, go deep into the asteroid belt. Reduce speed by half, be careful to avoid." The Thunder's engine roared, the ship's hull trembled slightly, and it headed towards the chaotic stone area. The asteroid belt is like a mess, with countless rocks tumbling in orbit, occasionally colliding and emitting silent sparks. After half an hour of sailing, the target was finally captured on the screen. A massive structure is hidden among the debris of the planet, its surface covered in dust and vine-like energy remnants. It doesn't look like a human building, with weird lines, as if growing out of a nebula. "Oh my God, those are ancient ruins." Qianshua's voice trembled slightly, and she zoomed in on the image. There are runes on the outer wall, similar to those alien inscriptions in the Alliance archives. The source of the energy is there. Zihao's heartbeat accelerated. This was the first time he had seen such a thing with his own eyes. Passion burns like fire in my chest. "Zhong Han, scan the structural stability. Let's get closer, but keep our distance." Scanning. The structure is complete and the age is at least tens of thousands of years. Those runes are glowing. "Captain, be careful, they may have a defense mechanism." Zhong Han responded. The Thunder slowly approached, its detector stretched out, and lightly touched the outer wall of the ruins. At that moment, the lights on the bridge flickered and the holographic screen jumped like snowflakes. The alarm screamed again, and the instrument readings fluctuated wildly. "Damn! All the sensors failed." Qianshua shouted, trying to restart the system. "The energy interference is too strong, like an EMP pulse, but more refined." Sporadic exclamations came from the ship, and the light bulbs in the engineering room burst and sparks flew everywhere. The crew held their ground, but chaos broke out. A young radar operator called out, "Captain, the thrusters are slow to respond, are we stuck?" Zihao clenched the armrest, a calm decision flashing through his mind. "This is not an accident, it is the reaction of the ruins." He ordered loudly, "Calm down. Switch to the backup power supply, Zhong Han, repair the instrument. Qianshua, analyze the remaining data." Zhong Han's voice came from the chaos, "I'm working hard. This interference is like a virus, invading our system. But, interesting, it is not destructive, more like communication knot." Qianshua tapped on the keyboard, her face pale. "The data is being restored. Captain, this energy wave matches the lost technology. The runes are not decorations, they are alive and store some kind of knowledge. It may change the entire war pattern. If the rebels have discovered it." Her words made Zihao narrow his eyes. "Rebels?" "Alliance intelligence indicates that they have been searching for these ruins. If this is the key, they must not be allowed to succeed." His leadership was fully demonstrated at this moment, with courage mixed with caution. "Everyone listens to the order, we will not retreat. Prepare the landing team. Chinchua, you and me. Zhonghan, maintain the ship. Put on the spacesuit and check the weapons. Let us reveal the secret of this ruins. The crew nodded and took action. Zihao looked at the ruins. The runes pulsated slightly in the darkness, as if calling. He felt that this was just the beginning, the prelude to a cosmic legend. The landing hatch of the Thunder slowly slid open, and the cold vacuum breath poured in like a tide, mixed with the smell of dust from the asteroid belt. Zihao took the lead to step out, and the magnetic boots under his feet were firmly attached to the outer wall of the ruins. The surface was as rough as ancient meteorite skin, with blue energy veins faintly revealed. He turned and glanced at the team behind him. Chinchua followed closely, holding a communicator, and the usual cautious expression on her face became a little deeper. Zhonghan carried his toolbox, and although he was an engineer, he insisted on coming in person this time. After all, who knows how to pry open the broken door? And Yen Ran, the new member, was a rune expert who had just been transferred from the Alliance from a nearby research station. Her long black hair swayed slightly under the helmet, and her eyes shone with a passion for the unknown. Captain, this place feels like I've walked into the galaxy version of Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum, full of traps and secrets. Yen Ran said as she walked. Her voice came through the communicator, with a soft and waxy southern accent, which gave this cold space a touch of humanity. She is a young scientist in her 20s. It is said that she has deciphered the inscriptions of several small ruins in the Alliance archives. This time, Zihao requested temporary support, and she came over without saying a word. Zihao nodded, the scanner buzzing on his wrist. The mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang? Then we have to be careful not to jump out of the terracotta warriors suddenly. Chinchua, is the communication link stable? Zhonghan, where is the entrance? Chinchua adjusted the display screen of her helmet, and the ship's data stream jumped on the screen. It's stable, Captain. However, the interference wave from the ruins is still there, and the signal can only be maintained at 70% strength. I will adjust the frequency while walking to ensure that we are not disconnected from the Thunder. Her voice was steady, but there was a trace of nervousness. She didn't like this kind of blind spot, and always felt that the unknown would swallow everything like a black hole. Zhonghan was already squatting in front of the entrance, which was an arched door 10 meters high. Its surface was engraved with winding runes, pulsing slightly like a living thing. He pulled a probe from his toolbox and connected it to a portable decoder. Give me 2 minutes. The lock on this door is not human. It's like a biological lock. It combines energy fields and mechanical gears. It seems that the guys from ancient civilizations are very good at playing. His fingers operated quickly, and a green cracking progress bar flashed on the screen. 30%. Hey, this rune is feeding back data, as if it's chatting with me. Yen Ran, take a look, does this line match your expertise? Yen Ran stepped forward and touched the door wall with her gloved hand, and the runes lit up slightly under her fingertips. That's right. This is a trace of the Elven civilization, at least 50,000 years ago. Their runes are not dead words, but energy carriers that can store knowledge and instructions. Looking at this paragraph, it probably means Guardian's Gate, only the pure can enter. Purity? Maybe it refers to explorers who have no intention of invading. She frowned, excitement flashing in her eyes. If the crack is successful, their lost technology may be hidden inside. Imagine a prototype of an energy weapon or warp drive that could allow Alliance warships to beat the rebels. Zihao listened, his heart sank and he felt happy again. If the rebels get these first, the balance on the border will be broken. He patted Zhonghan on the shoulder. Come on, man. We can't stand at the door like a living target. At this moment, he felt that the responsibility on his shoulders was heavier. From a hot-blooded boy in the military academy to now leading a team deep into the ruins, his decision-making is no longer impulsive, but mixed with concern for the team. This is growth, he thought. Leadership is not about fighting alone, but about letting everyone go back alive. 80%, done. Zhonghan shouted, and a soft blue light burst out from the crack in the door. The arch slowly opened, revealing the dark passage inside. The airlock automatically adapted, and the oxygen indicator jumped to the green zone. They took off their helmets and breathed in the air of the ruins for the first time, cool, with the smell of metal and dust, like walking into a forgotten museum. The team filed in, boots making a low thud on the smooth floor. The internal structure is breathtakingly majestic, towering vaults arch like a galaxy, and the walls are densely covered with luminous rune veins, which converge into huge murals depicting behemoths and spaceships on unknown planets. In the center is a wide corridor, with branch roads on both sides hidden in darkness, and the air is filled with low-frequency buzzing, like the beating of a heart. Wow, this place is more shocking than the one in the holographic documentary. Chinchua murmured. She raised the communicator as she walked and tried to scan it. Captain, the signal is weak. I have to find a higher point to reset the repeater. Zonghan, can your handheld device be connected? Zonghan nodded and checked the wall as he walked. Yes, but the structure is so perfect, there is no sign of corrosion. Those runes are interacting. Yenran, what do you think? Are they recording us? Yenran stopped in front of an alcove and carefully examined a row of runes. Yes, this paragraph is a warning, gate of knowledge, those who touch will bear consequences. But look here, she pointed to a series of spiral inscriptions. This hints at the core technology, a resonance field that can amplify energy and turn small ships into war machines. If the rebels interpret this, the Alliance's patrol ships will become targets. Her voice was full of excitement, and her cheeks were slightly red, like a child who discovered a treasure. Captain Zihao, this is definitely an ancient heritage and can change the entire galaxy war situation. Zihao nodded and made quick calculations in his mind. This discovery is too big and needs to be reported to the Alliance as soon as possible. But now, the focus is on safety. He took the lead, and his intuition told him that the ruins would not be so friendly. Everyone, follow closely and maintain formation. Chinchua, monitor the rear. Yenran, continue to interpret, but don't touch randomly. His tone was firm, and the team's eyes were focused on him, which made him feel a warm current. They believed in him. This is the true meaning of leadership. After walking for a few minutes, there was a sudden tremor in the passage ahead. There was a low roar from beneath the floor, and the runes on the walls flashed red, pulsing like alarms. A hidden grill slid down from the ceiling, mixed with the sound of sharp metal friction, and headed straight for the team. Trap! Disperse! Zihao shouted, instinctively pulling Chinchua and throwing her to the side. The others reacted quickly. Zonghan rolled to the side, and Yenran narrowly avoided it. The grate hit the ground, gravel flew, and the passage instantly became narrow. The air was filled with the smell of ionized ozone, and there was a buzzing sound from behind. More mechanisms were being activated. Damn, this is a defense system. Zonghan got up and patted the dust on his body. The energy field is interfering with my tools. Chinchua, how is the communication? Chinchua gasped and checked the equipment. It's barely holding on, but the alarm was heard on the other side of the ship. Zonghan, I'll send the relay signal and you repair the roadblock. We have to go around it. Her fingers trembled for a moment, but they quickly stabilized. In a crisis, she was always the one supporting logistics. Zihao stood up and looked around. Intuition flashed like electricity. The location where the grating fell was not random, and the red light of the rune pointed to the left branch, where the veins were weaker. Don't panic, this is not a random killing, it's a test. Follow me and walk to the left. Yenran, look at the runes, they are guiding. He took the lead and squeezed into the branch road, followed by the team. Sure enough, the red light gradually turned blue and the channel stabilized. They avoided the second wave of traps. An energy network popped out of the wall, but they had bypassed it and only heard the sizzling arc sound. Captain, your intuition saved our lives. Yenran gasped, with a hint of admiration in her eyes. Last time I explored the ruins, the captain wasn't so sharp. Zihao smiled and wiped the sweat from his forehead. It's just experience. After 3 years of patrolling, you have to learn to listen to the voices of the stars. A flash in his mind, this is not just luck, but the growth he has honed from past crises. In the past, he would charge hard, but now, he has learned to observe and predict. They continued to go deeper, and the passage gradually widened, and finally reached the central chamber. It was a huge rotunda, more than 50 meters in diameter, with a dome inlaid with luminous crystals like a starry sky. In the center stand several dormant cabins, shaped like crystal coffins, with runes covering their surfaces, faintly revealing the outline of a human figure. The buzz in the air became stronger, as if to welcome them. "This, sleep cabin?" Qianxue whispered, and the communicator showed that the signal was barely connected to the ship. "Zhonghan, scan it, what's in it?" Zhonghan connected to the device, and data popped up on the screen. Signs of life. Faint, but there. These capsules are clone preservation devices, masterpieces of ancient civilizations. Yenran, what do your runes say? Yenran approached a cabin and touched the surface lightly. The runes lit up instantly, and the inscriptions spread across the hall like ripples. The blue light flourished, illuminating every corner. The lid of the dormant cabin trembled slightly, and a low hum sounded, like a heartbeat coming to life. "They are responding, the awakening is about to begin." Yenran murmured, her voice mixed with surprise and uneasiness. Zihao stared at the brilliance, his heartbeat quickening. At this moment, he knew that the secrets of the ruins were far beyond imagination, and they were standing on the edge of the storm. Blue light surged like a tide, and the lid of the dormant chamber made a slight clicking sound, as if an ancient pendulum was waking up. Zihao's heartbeat synchronized with the buzzing sound. He raised his hand to signal the team to take a step back. "Don't come close, Yenran, please tell me what's going on first. Why are these cabins suddenly alive?" Yenran squatted in front of the nearest cabin, staring at the runes with her eyes wearing enhanced lenses, and tracing the translation trajectory with her fingers in the air. "Captain, this is not a coincidence. We have triggered the core sequence. Those mural runes are telling the history of the Elven civilization. They are not a single race, but an alien alliance, uniting intelligent life from multiple galaxies to fight against a galaxy-level catastrophe similar to our current rebel division, but on a larger scale." She took a deep breath and spoke. The excitement in the voice could not suppress the trembling. "These runes record their cloning technology, not simple copying, but soul resonance, which seals the consciousness of the elite warriors and waits for them to awaken when the crisis reoccurs. Look here, this spiral inscription is connected to the history of human expansion. They foresaw our arrival and considered us to be their successors." Zhonghan leaned against the cabin, the toolbox opened, and the scanner buzzed. "Successor?" It sounds like a plot from a science fiction novel. The data shows that these capsules use nano-energy networks and are as well preserved as if they were built yesterday. But if the awakening fails, we may have to face a bunch of crazy antiques. He glanced at Qianxue. "Adjutant, is there any movement over there? Is the signal stable?" Qianxue squatted on the high platform beside the hall. The communicator was connected to the temporary repeater, and the data stream fell like raindrops on the screen. "It's barely stable, but the interference wave from the ruins is getting stronger." "Wait." Her brows furrowed suddenly, and her fingers quickly switched channels. "I intercepted the external signal. It's not ours, it's an encrypted shortwave, coming from the outer edge of the asteroid belt. It sounds like the patrol frequency of the rebels. They are nearby, and they mentioned relic activation, target rune core. Captain, this place is definitely related to the separatist forces. They may have been eyeing this place for a long time." A chill flashed through Zihao's mind. The shadow of the rebels is like a dark cloud, and this is not just exploring, but getting involved in the war. He turned to the team, his voice as steady as an anchor. "Okay, everyone listen, Yenran continues to interpret, but keep your distance. Zhonghan, prepare the interface of the cabin, we have to control the awakening. Qianxue, encrypt our signal, notify the thunder to be on alert, don't let the rebels' noses smell it, taste it. Remember, we are the eyes of the Alliance, and the secrets here cannot fall into the wrong hands." His words were like orders and encouragement, and the team's eyes lit up. He can always stabilize people's hearts at the edge of crisis, which is a skill he has honed from countless patrol missions. In the past, he would be impatient and impulsive. Now, he has learned to treat the team as an extension of himself. Yanran nodded and approached the main rune array on the wall. It was a huge mural depicting the battle scene between clone warriors and the alien alliance. Keep reading. Here's a link to the current conflict. Alvin prophesies that the inheritors will face the fire of disunion, similar to the rise of the rebellion. Their clones are designed to be guardians, able to amplify the ship's energy field and turn the tide of the battle. But activation requires pure resonance. The intention of the seeker: it must be pure, otherwise the defense system will regard it as an invasion. She slid her fingers over a string of runes, and the blue light pulsed. The arrival of humans activated them because our DNA has similar marks. If the rebels crack it, they can awaken these things in batches and become a plague in the galaxy. As soon as he finished speaking, the hall suddenly shook violently. There was a sound of shattering crystals in the dome, and a red energy network emerged from under the floor, snaking and crawling like a living snake, heading towards the team. The rune array flashed warning red light, the air was filled with the smell of ionized burnt, and laser fences popped out of the wall, blocking the exit. The defense system is activated. Zhonghan shouted, grabbed the toolbox and jumped back. The laser grazed his shoulder and scorched the armor. Damn, this is an automatic reaction, our scan triggered it. Chinchua, turn off the repeater, don't let it lock on us. Zihao reacted very quickly, grabbing Yanran and hiding behind a pillar on the side. The laser exploded sparks where they were standing. Disperse. Zhonghan, repair the energy disruptor, we have to disconnect this network. Chinchua, find the weak point and scan the source of the fence. Yanran, does the rune have a shutdown command? His voice penetrated everything in the chaos, and the team started to move like gears. At this moment, he felt the pulse of growth, not acting alone in a heroic manner, but anticipating every step like commanding a patrol ship. Chinchua rolled under the high platform and the communicator switched to tactical mode. The source is in the center of the dome, where the energy converges. But the signal is chaotic, and I intercepted more rebel conversations. They are approaching, and it is estimated that they will reach the entrance in 5 minutes. Captain, we have to fight quickly. Her fingers trembled, but her eyes were firm, and reason was like a shield to block fear. Zhonghan crawled forward as the laser net approached. He pulled out a portable pulse gun from the toolbox and aimed at a red light weak point on the floor. Give me 30 seconds, this network is an antique, I can short-circuit it. But the equipment is damaged, the jammer is half-burned. He said as he welded the wires, sparks flying, sweat dripping down his face. Hey, Yanran, does your rune have the turn off the light spell? These things are like fireworks set off during the Chinese New Year. It's lively, but it's hot. Yanran hid behind the pillar and scanned the mural with enhanced lenses. Yes. This rune is the order of termination, but it needs to touch the core capsule. It is risky and will accelerate awakening. She bit her lip, hesitation flashed in her eyes, but she quickly became determined. I'll try it, Captain, cover me. Zihao nodded, pulled out his sidearm pulse gun, and fired to suppress the laser net. Go ahead, let's hold on. Chinchua, contact the Thunder and request fire support, but don't expose your position. He moved while shooting, and the bullet-like energy beam shattered several fences to gain space for Zhonghan. A flash in my heart, this is leadership, sacrificing the individual to change the vitality of the team. His patrol career taught him that bravery is not about not being afraid of death, but about letting your partners live first. Just as the laser net tightened, the central dormant cabin made a loud noise. The lid popped open, and a burst of white light illuminated the entire hall. A figure slowly sat up from the cabin, tall and straight, with skin as smooth as porcelain, eyes of deep silver gray, and his body wrapped with residual energy threads. He stood up unsteadily, his eyes were confused, and he glanced around, as if he had woken up from a 10,000-year dream. Who invaded, guard? His voice was low, with a mechanical echo. his fists were clenched, and his extraordinary power distorted the surrounding air. "That's a clone!" Yen Ran exclaimed, and the laser net rushed towards him, but with an instinctive wave of his hand, the energy field bounced off like a shield, and the fence shattered into light spots. "Is it protecting us?" Ingjie turned his head and stared at Zihao, hostility flashing through the confusion. "Are you, the splinter?" The rune summons. "I'm back." He stepped forward, with a surge of power, and the floor cracked under his feet. Zihao raised his hands, lowered the muzzle of his gun, and spoke in a steady but firm voice. "Wait, we are not enemies. I am Alliance Captain Zihao, and this is our exploration. You are the Guardian, right? The rebels are approaching, and they are the fire of division. We need you to help shut down this damn thing." His eyes looked directly at the hero, without dodging. This was an intuitive bet. Trust is like a bridge, crossing the gap of thousands of years. Ingjie paused, his silver-gray eyes flickering, and his lost memories emerged like fragments. "The Alliance, inherit, pure intentions." He murmured, turned to face the laser net, punched out, extraordinary energy exploded, and the red light exploded like fireworks. The entire defense system buzzed, the crystals on the dome dimmed, and the hall returned to silence. Zhong Han's repair device also turned on the green light, and he whistled, "Brother, you can hit 10 of my tools with one punch." The team gasped and gathered around. Qinshua checked the signal. The rebel signal was interrupted. They may have been scared off by the interference, but they know we are here and have to retreat quickly. Ingjie turned to Zihao, the confusion gradually receded, and his voice became softer. Ingjie. The runes awaken me, and my memory is incomplete. But your words resonate. The Guardian is loyal to the pure." He stretched out his hand, and the energy in his palm pulsed, as if he was testing. Zihao held the hand and felt a warm current, like the pulse of the stars. "Welcome, Ingjie. We have a common enemy. The rebels want to seize these secrets and change the situation of the war. But together, we can keep the alliance." At this moment, trust was ignited like a fire. Zihao looked into Ingjie's eyes, and new strength surged in his heart. His growth was not limited to himself, but he was also recruiting new allies and weaving a larger web. Yen Ran came closer and excitedly gestured with the runes. "It's incredible. Ingjie, your memory can help us interpret more. The history of the Elven Alliance is hidden in your mind." Zhong Han patted Ingjie on the shoulder. "Man, don't rush to be a hero, my scanner hasn't been calibrated yet. Come, sit still, we have to check your body. If you are an ancient version of Android, it will be troublesome if it crashes." Qinshua smiled and said jokingly, "Engineer, do you envy people who cut off the internet with one punch?" "Captain, the Thunder has responded. They sent reinforcement boats, but the shadow of the rebels is still there. What's our next step?" Zihao looked towards the exit. The blue light faded, and the runes in the hall were as quiet as the stars. "First bring Ingjie back to the ship, interpret his memory, and dig out all the secrets of the ruins. The rebels will not give up. This is just the beginning." He led the way, and the team surrounded his new partner, with a touch of firmness in his steps. The low hum of the ruins seems to be responding, and the storm is rolling in from the border. The team's footsteps echoed through the corridors of the ruins, and blue lights slid along the walls like ghosts, as if the entire structure was whispering ancient secrets. Zihao walked in the front, followed closely by Ingjie. The tall figure still had some stiffness from just waking up, but his steps were as steady as a mountain. Qinshua's communicator occasionally beeped slightly, and she scanned surrounding signals as she walked. Zhong Han dragged the toolbox, and Yen Ran excitedly gestured with the scanning tablet in her hand, her eyes as bright as if she had discovered a new galaxy. "Ingjie, your energy field just now is simply a living shield." Zhong Han couldn't help but turn around and grinned. "I've been building battleships for half my life, and I've never seen such a clean output. How is your system calibrated? Isn't it Alvin's version of the quantum brain?" Ingjie's silver-gray eyes flickered slightly, and he paused, as if piecing together the pieces in his mind. Memory is like a broken star map. Guardians of the Elven Alliance, our technology is not a weapon, but a resonance network. It can connect the energy core of the fleet, allowing the patrol ships to amplify their firepower like a swarm to fight against the fire of division. His voice was low and echoed. As he spoke, he raised his hand. A light blue energy thread emerged from his fingertips and touched the wall lightly. The rune lit up for a moment, then dimmed. The rebels, their shadow reappears in the prophecy. The runes of the ruins can strengthen your alliance fleet and turn the tide of the war. But if it falls into their hands, it will become a tool of destruction. Zihao's heart tightened as he listened. This is not just a history lesson, but a living strategic blueprint. He turned around and patted Ingjia on the shoulder. It sounds like we have found a treasure. It is no coincidence that the rebels are targeting this place. They want to use these things to make a comeback. Tell me more. Are there any fragments of your memory that can help us dig deeper? Ingjia nodded, looking far away at the arch at the end of the corridor. Fragment. On the battlefield, the fleet fell like a shower of stars. We counterattacked with the resonance network, and the energy field swallowed the enemy ships. But the catastrophe came, the alliance collapsed, and I was sealed, waiting for the successor to awaken. Your alliance is similar to our structure back then, but it faces the same betrayal. The leader of the rebels may have inherited the legacy of their old enemy. They have a base on the outer edge of the asteroid belt and plan to use rune cores to awaken more guardians in batches, but twisted into slaves. His fists were slightly clenched, energy threads wrapped around his fingers, and the air was filled with the smell of electricity. Qianshua's brows furrowed. She quickened her pace, approached Zihao, and whispered, "Captain, this sounds too mysterious. A clone that just woke up knows the rebel base? How can we be sure that he is not a trap? The defense of the ruins just locked us. If he is programmed to become a spy." Her voice was low, but the fear in her eyes was like an undercurrent. Reason is her shield, but the unknown always creates cracks in her heart. Yenran heard it and shook her head. "Adjutant, the runes are not deceptive. Ingjia's resonance is pure. I have scanned his energy signature and it matches Alvin's guardian sequence. The rebels' encrypted signals also confirm that they are tracking the core." She turned to Ingjia and asked excitedly, "Do you remember the core device of the runes? The thing that can extract data? If we can bring it back, the Alliance's engineering department can reverse engineer and strengthen the entire fleet." Zonghan chuckled and shook the toolbox. "Yes, buddy, give me a hint." "My scanner can connect, but it needs your memory as a key. Imagine adding a resonance network to the Thunder's engine, and the rebel reconnaissance ship becomes a target." Zihao stopped and looked at the team. Behind the arch at the end of the corridor is the core room of the ruins. Judging from the scan, the source of the rune array is hidden there. He felt a weight on his shoulders, not fear, but responsibility. In the past, he would rush forward, but now, he has learned to weigh. "Okay, we can't leave empty-handed. Ingjia, your memory will guide us and we will extract the rune data. Yenran and Zonghan, the two of you will work together to crack the core device. Don't touch the sensitive parts, just copy the data and samples. Qianshua, monitor the outside and detect any disturbance. Repay me. Ingjia, protect the rearguard. If the rebels are really nearby, this is our chance to counterattack." His words were like tactical instructions, but with the warmth of encouragement, the team nodded, and their eyes were in sync. This is growth, from fighting alone to commanding like an arm. They pushed open the arch, and the core room suddenly opened up, a rotunda, with a crystal sphere floating in the center, surrounded by spiral runes, slowly rotating like a living nebula. The blue light here is as thick as mist, and there is a constant buzz in the air. Yenran was the first to step forward, enhancing the flashing of her lenses. "This is it. Core device, rune database. Ingjia, which memory can open the interface?" Ingjia approached the crystal, put his palm on the surface, and closed his silver-gray eyes. "Memories, this is the heart core, the connection point of the Guardian. The intention is pure, and it will be shared." Energy threads surged from his palms, the crystals pulsed, the runes lit up with gold edges, and a projection emerged, an image of an ancient battlefield, where Elvin's fleet defeated the enemy with a resonance network. Zhonghan excitedly set up the portable interface and connected the cable to the crystal. It's so cool. The data is flowing in, encrypted at the nanometer level, but unlocked by the resonance of the heroes. He murmured while tapping the tablet, Yenran, help me compare the runes. This part looks like an energy amplification formula, which can double the shield of the patrol ship. Yenran leaned over, her fingers flying. Yes, here. If applied to the Alliance fleet, the rebels' conspiracy will be solved. They want to use runes to build a split formation, twist clones in batches, and launch border raids. The two cooperated tacitly. Zhonghan's tools buzzed, Yenran's interpretation was as smooth as poetry, and the data began to download. Zihao stood guard by the door, pulse gun in hand, scanning the entrance. Come on, Chinchua, how is the outside? Chinchua squatted on the high platform and connected the communicator to the relay. It is temporarily clean, but the fluctuations in the ruins are amplifying weight. Her face turned pale and she poked the screen with her finger. Alarm. The core device triggered the internal defense and the energy network was activated again. And, external signal, 3 rebel reconnaissance ships, 2 minutes away from the entrance. They have locked onto our heat source, Captain, they know we are digging. Before he finished speaking, the hall shook, red light emerged from under the floor, and laser fences popped out from the cracks in the wall, denser than last time, rushing like a wild python. The runes around the crystal flashed red, and the projected image distorted into a warning symbol. Damn, here we go again. Zhonghan cursed, grabbed the toolbox and backed away. The download is 70%, but this network will cut off the interface. Ingjia, help block it. Ingjia stepped forward and the energy field exploded, blocking the first wave of lasers. Hold on, I can delay it. But the rebels, their ships have jammers that will block the exit. His voice was tight, and the memory fragments made him more alert. Chinchua rolled to Zihao's side and pointed her gun at the door. Captain, we have to retreat. But Ingjia, what if he is a trigger? As soon as his energy touches the crystal, the alarm goes off. If he is an undercover agent of the rebels, the Alliance will be destroyed in his hands. Her voice trembled, fear wrapped around her rationality like a vine, and her eyes glanced at Ingjia, full of doubts. This is not her usual calmness, but the fear of the unknown deep in her heart. She has seen too many betrayals in her patrol life. The team froze. Zhonghan's hand stopped on the interface. Yenran also turned her head. The tension in the air was like a bowstring. Ingjia's fist unclenched, his silver-gray eyes flashed with pain. I am not an enemy. The resonance proves everything. Zihao's heart sank, but he didn't let his emotions get in the way. He turned to Chinchua, his voice as steady as chatting with an old friend. Chinchua, look at me. Ingjia saved us twice. His energy blocked the lasers, not attracted them. The rebel reconnaissance ships were because of our scanning, and they kept an eye on the ruins for more than a day or two. You are my adjutant, and your intuition has saved countless fleets. But now, we have to trust the team. He paused, his eyes gentle but firm. Remember the last ambush in the asteroid belt? You were afraid it was a trap. I listened to you and took a detour to avoid it. Now, it's my turn to say, Ingjia is ours. Fear is normal, but leadership is to pull everyone across the ditch together. Chinchua bit her lip, took a deep breath, and nodded. Understood, Captain. You can always keep me steady. I'm sorry, Ingjia, I'm just too afraid of losing. She let go of the gun and turned back to the communicator. The Thunder's reinforcement boat will arrive in 5 minutes, let's buy time. Zihao felt relieved. This resolution was not a coincidence, but a proof of growth. In the past, he would yell loudly, but now, he uses words to build bridges and bring the team closer. He shouted, Zhonghan, Yenran, disconnect. Bring the samples, we will retreat. Ingjia, clear the way. Zhonghan yanked the cable, and a crystal fragment, a rune sample, fell into his box. 85 ta, that's enough. Run. Yenran grabbed the tablet, and the rune projection flashed with her. Ingjia rushed forward, his energy field like a shield pushing away the laser, and the team filed out. In the corridor, the red net chased, the laser grazed the wall, and sparks flew everywhere. "Turn left, Branch Road," Chinchua shouted. The communicator showed the silhouette of the rebel ship approaching the entrance, and the interference wave caused the lights of the ruins to flicker. They rushed out of the ruins. The air outside was cold and the dust from the asteroid filled the air like fog. The patrol boat was on standby not far away, its engine roaring. The rebel reconnaissance ship's scanning beam swept across, and the energy cannon buzzed as it warmed up. "Get aboard!" Zihao pushed everyone into the cabin. Ingjia made one last leap, and his energy field blocked a long-range shot. The boat door closed, the engine fired, and they jumped into the starry sky, throwing away their pursuers. The Thunder's signal came on, and reinforcements fired to push back the rebels. Inside the boat, the team gasped and sat paralyzed. Zhonghan checked the box. "The sample is intact, the data is encrypted, but it has the resonance mark of the hero, which can unlock more." Yanran smiled. "This is the beginning, the alliance will become stronger." Chinchua looked at Ingjia and handed over the water pipe. "Thanks, partner. I was wrong just now." Ingjia nodded. "It doesn't matter. Guardian, learn to forgive." Zihao leaned against the bulkhead and looked out the window at the asteroid belt, where the silhouette of the rebel ship was hidden in the darkness. "Go back to the Thunder and analyze the data. We have to go to the rebel base sooner or later. But now, we have one more strength." There was a hint of mature calmness in his words. The team's eyes gathered like stars. Although the storm was close, they were no longer alone. The patrol boat's engine hummed as it slid into the Thunder's engine bay, and when the doors slid open, the rusty smell of asteroid dust lingered in the air. Zihao was the first to jump off, his boots making a crisp echo on the metal deck. He turned around to support Chinchua, her hands were still trembling slightly. The escape just now made everyone's heartbeats not completely calm down. Zhonghan dragged the toolbox, and the crystal fragments inside jingled. Yanran hugged the tablet tightly, her eyes still shining with the afterglow of the blue light of the ruins. Ingjia walked at the end, his tall figure blocking the hatch, his silver-gray eyes scanning the surroundings, as if to confirm that there was no shadow following. "Captain, welcome back." The AI voice on the bridge sounded, soft but alert. "The external scan is clean, but there is slight interference with the border signal. The infirmary is prepared and the engineering cabin is on standby." Zihao nodded and patted Ingjia on the arm. "Advanced engineering cabin, Zhonghan, you and Yanran process the data first. Chinchua, monitor the rebel movements, I will go to the bridge to summarize." He caught a glimpse of the team's fatigue, and felt warm in his heart. This trip was not a walk, but they were back and more united. He took a deep breath and walked to the elevator. "Everyone, take a 5-minute break and then have a meeting. The rebels won't wait for us to drink tea." In the engineering cabin, the lights lit up like daylight, and Zhonghan's tool table was filled with cables and scanners. He carefully inserted the crystal fragment into the interface, and the tablet screen flickered with data streams. "Come on, baby, show me what you're capable of," he murmured to himself, typing on the keyboard. Ingjia approached, stretched out his palm and put it on the fragment. A pulse of blue light unlocked the encryption layer. Yanran came closer and narrowed her eyes behind the lens. "Look here, this rune sequence is the origin code of the Guardian. Ingjia, you are not an accident. You are the ultimate defense line of Elven civilization, designed to protect the Alliance from internal divisions." Her fingers flew, projecting rune patterns, like ancient star maps spinning in the air. "Clones like you can connect to the resonance network and are not enslavement tools, but voluntary guardians. The rebels want to twist this point, awaken the twisted versions in batches, and launch a border chaos." Ingjia frowned slightly, and memory fragments came flooding back. He whispered, "Yes. I saw it. The ancient battlefield, the predecessor of the rebels, the Shadow Alliance, they stole runes, tried to enslave the Guardians, and caused galactic catastrophe. We sealed the ruins and waited for the pure successors. Now, you're rebels. They are digging similar ruins in the secret base on the outer edge of the asteroid belt. The leader is a guy named Shadow, and his signal matches the genetic code of the old enemy. They plan to use the rune core to strengthen the fleet and launch a full-scale rebellion, first cutting off the border supply lines, and then going straight to the Alliance's core star field. His voice was as low as thunder, his fists clenched, and energy threads jumped at his fingertips. If they succeed, the Alliance will collapse into stardust like it did back then. Zhonghan listened and whistled while repairing the interface. Wow, man, your memory is more complete than my backup. Come on, try this. I will integrate your resonance network into the Thunder's shield system. He pulled the wrench, and an energy arc jumped from the fragments to the main console. The ship shook slightly and the alarm light flashed green. It's done! The shield strength is increased by 30%, and the firepower output can be amplified simultaneously. Imagine that the next time the rebels attack, our artillery fire is like a swarm of bees, killing their engines. He grinned and patted Ingjia on the shoulder. You clone, you are like my new toy. Yanran nodded and added excitedly, the runes confirm that the awakening of the heroes is the key. These guardians can unlock more ruins. We are not digging for treasures, but restarting history. The rebels know this, so they are eager to chase us. At this time, the hatch slid open and Zihao and Qianxue walked in. Qianxue's tablet was connected to the main network of the bridge, and her face was solemn. Captain, I have intertwined Ingjia's memory fragments with our intelligence network. The location of the rebel base has been locked in the southeast of the asteroid belt, codenamed Dark Core, hidden in the magnetic storm cloud. 3 days ago, they sent an encrypted signal mentioning rune harvest. If they get the core first, our data will be in vain. She handed over the screen, which marked the base with a red, surrounded by the trajectory map of the rebel patrol ship. The Alliance's top leaders are still meeting, and it will take at least 24 hours for the report to be approved. But if we take the initiative, the risk is high. If we are exposed, the border will be in chaos. Zihao took the tablet and stared at the map, his heart spinning like a whirlpool. Where before he would rush in impulsively, now he feels the weight of growth, not flinching, but weighing. He turned to the team and leaned on the console. Okay, let's sit down and talk. This is not a routine patrol, but a critical moment that changes the situation of the war. Ingjia, your memory says that the rebels are going to launch a full-scale rebellion. We have the data and the upgraded Thunder, but the base is their home base. Qianxue, reporting to the Alliance is a safe card, but if you are slow, they may have already taken action. Take the initiative. We can steal their plans and thwart the conspiracy, but we must be precise, like a scalpel, not a cannon bombardment. Zhonghan spoke first, wiping the grease on his hands. Captain, I am quite proactive. The Thunder now has a resonance network, and the shield is as hard as iron. The rebel reconnaissance ship chased us last time, and now it is our turn to bite their tail. Imagine sneaking into the base and stealing their core devices. I can hack into the system and paralyze the defense. He chuckled, his eyes flashing with the fanaticism of an engineer. Besides, waiting for the Alliance. Their bureaucracy is slower than a black hole. Qianxue shook her head and crossed her arms. Zhonghan, you are always so optimistic. But there is magnetic storm interference in the base, and our communication will be interrupted. If there is an ambush. She paused, looked at Zihao, and softened her voice. Captain, I trust your intuition. But last time at the ruins, I almost died. Everyone now, I don't want to hesitate anymore. The intelligence shows that there is a spy in the Alliance, and the report may leak. If we take the initiative, at least we will control the situation. Her eyes turned from fear to determination. This was Zihao's words taking effect, turning her from an adjutant to a strategic partner. Yanran came closer and projected the rune diagram. Judging from the runes, guardians such as Ingjia can neutralize the rebels' distortion field. We sneak in and use Ingjia as the key to unlock their laboratory. The core of the rebellion plan is the split formation. Destroying it will cut off their escape route. This is not an adventure, but a responsibility entrusted to us by ancient civilization. She smiled and looked at Ingjia. Right? your memory is calling for action. Ingjia nodded, his silver-gray eyes locked on Zihao. Captain, I was born to protect you. The shadow of the rebels is like an old enemy, repeating the catastrophe. Report to the Alliance, maybe you can be saved for a while. Attack, you can cut off the root cause. I will protect you, the resonance network makes the thunder invincible. His words were like an oath, and energy threads gently surrounded the team, bringing a warm current. As Zihao listened, the blue light of the ruins, the sparks of the laser, and the team's eyes flashed in his mind. He stood up straight and his voice was as clear as the command from the bridge. Okay, let's take the initiative. But not recklessly, strategy comes first. Qinshue, plan the route, avoid the main magnetic storm belt, and use disguised signals to get in. Zhonghan, upgrade the stealth module, incorporate runes, and make the thunder look like a ghost. Yanran, Ingjia, you are ready to crack the plan. I will personally lead the team to sneak into the base and steal the intelligence and core. We will report to the Alliance later, but now, this is our battle. After his words fell, the team nodded, and the air was tense like a bow, but it was no longer fear, but condensed fire. Qinshue tapped the tablet, the route is set, we will set off in 2 hours. Let's sneak in during the rebel patrol. Zhonghan laughed, the stealth system is online, give it a try. Captain, touch the shield, it's hard. Yanran and Ingjia discussed runes in a low voice, and the projection flashed new patterns. Zihao looked out the porthole. The starry sky outside was endless, and the asteroid belt was like a lurking giant beast. He felt lighter on his shoulders, not that he had shed responsibility, but that he had learned to share it. Growth is not about getting stronger, but about making the team as one and facing the storm. Get ready to go. The rebel base is waiting for our counterattack. The lights of the engineering cabin were reflected on everyone's faces, and the tense atmosphere was flowing like electricity. Qinshue's communicator suddenly buzzed, and an encrypted signal flashed the rebels' internal call, mentioning that the rune hunters have been dispatched. Time is running out, and their plan is approaching quietly like an interstellar storm. Qinshue's communicator was still buzzing, and the encrypted signal pierced the air of the engineering cabin like a thorn. Everyone's eyes turned to her. She tapped the screen quickly with her fingers, her face turning from solemn to livid. Captain, this signal is from the rebels' internal channel. The Rune Hunters, their elite team has been dispatched from the Dark Core base and headed straight for the asteroid belt. Looking at this trajectory, they may be tracking the remaining signals from our ruins. Within 2 hours, this area will be swept away. Zihao's heart sank, but on the surface he was as steady as a rock, patting the console. 2 hours? That's enough for us to take action. The plan remains unchanged, preemptive strike. Qinshue, you stay on the Thunder, provide remote support, monitor their communication network, and adjust our route in real time. Zhonghan, the stealth module must be online quickly. Use the talisman. The enhanced cultural energy allows us to slip into magnetic storm clouds like shadows. He turned to Yanran. How do you predict the rebels will use the ruins technology? What are the weaknesses of their twisted runes? We cannot fall into the trap. Finally, he looked at Ingjia. The tall clone was standing quietly, energy threads pulsing slightly on his arms. Ingjia, are you willing to go with us? We need your combat advantage. But this is not a solo fight, it is a team. Ingjia nodded, his voice as low as the roar of an engine. Captain, I was born for this. The resonance network allows me to sense the distortion field, and when I infiltrate, I serve as a vanguard. I can neutralize the rebel guardian variants and prevent the shadow from recurring. A trace of ancient determination flashed through his silver-gray eyes, as if the tide of memory was coming up again. Zhonghan rubbed his chin and was already rummaging in the toolbox. Ha, stealth module? A piece of cake. Give me half an hour, and I will weld the rune crystal into the stealth generator. Imagine that the shell of the Thunder is like a chameleon, and no one can see it in the magnetic storm cloud. Ingjia, your energy wire is used as a catalyst, make sure it doesn't jam. As he spoke, he pulled out the cable, sparks flew everywhere, and the engineering cabin suddenly looked like a bustling car repair shop. Yanran pushed the lens, and the rune model was projected, spinning in the air like a blue vortex. From the sequence I interpreted, the Rebels' relic technology is a variant of the split array, which can distort Guardian clones and turn them into violent weapons. But the weakness lies in the core frequency. If the heroes connect to the resonance network, they can reverse the field and make their devices self-destruct. The risk is that there are magnetic storm amplifiers deep in the base, and our scans will be distorted. The infiltration team must rely on intuition and avoid the automatic turrets. She paused and glanced at everyone. This is not a scientific game, it is a bet. We must be worthy of the trust of ancient civilization. The team gathered around the console, and the atmosphere was tense but orderly. Zihao saw it and thought, this is growth. He used to be able to carry the puzzle alone, but now he has learned to let everyone else put the puzzle together. Qinshue suddenly spoke, her voice trembling. Wait a minute, Captain. This plan sounds perfect, but what if the communication is interrupted in the magnetic storm cloud? Last time in the ruins, I almost lost everyone. This time, if Ingjia's energy goes out of control, or Zhonghan's module has a bug, we will be trapped in the rebel lair and become a living target. Her hands clenched the tablet, her knuckles turned white. Fear was like old scars, and they were cracked again. Zhonghan stopped the welding gun in his hand, turned around and joked, "Oh, Sister Qinshue, are you worried that my skills are unstable?" "Don't worry, my Zhonghan's things have never let the captain down. My shield saved your life in the last chase. This time, the stealth module is guaranteed to make the rebels think they've seen a ghost." He grinned, but his eyes were a little impatient, and he wiped sweat. "Besides, waiting for the rune hunters to come to your door? That's stupid." Qinshue's face turned red and her voice became sharp. "Zhonghan, you are always so cheerful. This is not a game. The rebels have a traitor, and the base defense network is like a spider's nest. No matter how awesome our thunder is, it cannot stop the entire army from pressing down. I'm afraid not of death, but of harming everyone. Captain, do you really want to go in person? What if?" Before she could finish her words, her eyes became wet. This fear was not weakness, but the shadow of the last ruins, which made her unable to breathe. The engineering cabin fell silent for a moment. Yen Ran and Ingjie exchanged glances without interrupting. Zihao stepped forward, gently pressed her shoulder. His voice was gentle but firm. "Qinshue, stop. Listen to me." He pulled her to sit by the console, and the team looked at him. "I understand your fear. Last time at the ruins, we almost fell down. I rushed too fast, didn't listen to your analysis of the route, and almost wiped out the whole army. That was my fault. But now, we are different. You are not harming people. How many times has your intelligence saved us? This time, you provided remote support. Just they are our eyes and backing. I believe in Zhonghan's module. We have seen Ingjia's strength. Yen Ran's prediction is our compass." He glanced at everyone and said in a tone like a bridge broadcast, "We are a team, not skirmishers. Fear is normal, but don't let it get in the way. Qinshue, if you are afraid, I will accompany you, but if we move together, there will be nothing difficult. Remember? Alliance patrol ships are not built for safety, but for facing storms." Qinshue took a deep breath, wiped the corners of her eyes, and nodded. "Captain. Thank you. You always keep me steady." "Yes, I support you. I will keep an eye on the communication network. Every signal from the rebels cannot escape." She forced a smile and turned to Zhonghan. "Brother, if there is a problem with your module, I will be the first to settle the score with you. But thanks, I went too far just now." Zhonghan shrugged and smiled. "It's okay, sisters. An engineer's optimism is to cheer up the team. Come, hand me the crystal. Let's work quickly." Yen Ran added with a smile, "The runes also say that unity is the power of the Guardian. Qinshue, your rationality is just what makes up for us adventurous ghosts." Ingjia whispered, "Fear is like a shadow. I will light the way forward." The air loosened and condensed like newly welded steel plates. Zihao felt warm in his heart. This solution was not a clever tongue, but a proof of his growth that he had learned to listen. He clapped his hands and said, "Okay, time waits for no one. Zhonghan, When will the module be ready? 20 minutes. In the invisible field test, it's done. Zhong Han pulled the last cable, and the shell of the Thunder roared low. Outside the portholes, the edge of the ship twisted like water waves and merged into the starry sky. Captain, touch it and see, it's as slippery as air. Chinchua tapped the tablet. The route is online. Bypass the main magnetic storm zone and use camouflage signals to impersonate rebel supply ships. The infiltration point is the cargo bay on the east side of the base, avoiding the main battery. Captain, who is the team? Zihao nodded. Me, Ingjia, Yanran, you and Zhonghan stay behind. Yanran, your knowledge of runes will come in handy after entering the base. Ingjia, fight cover. I am responsible for making decisions. Yanran said excitedly, okay. I can draw the blueprint of the split formation. 2 hours passed in a blink of an eye, and the Thunder's engine quietly started and slid out of the parking strip. Zihao stood on the bridge, looking at the chaos of the asteroid belt. The magnetic storm clouds were like the scars of the Milky Way, flashing blue and purple arcs. Let's go. Chinchua, keep in touch. Roger, Captain. The Rune Hunter's signal is on the west side. Your eastward journey is safe. Chinchua's voice came from the communicator, steadily. The ship sneaked to the edge of the magnetic storm, the stealth module was running, and Zhonghan's masterpiece made them look like ghosts. Zihao led the team to put on light armor. Ingqia's energy threads had connected their shields, and Yanran held the portable scanner. It feels like a mouse sneaking into a cat's nest. Yanran chuckled, a little humorous in her nervousness. Suddenly, the alarm sounded low. Chanshua's voice was urgent. Captain. There are 3 rebel patrol boats, their trajectories are crossing in front of you. The stealth module can withstand it, but their scanner has a relic upgrade and will detect energy residue. Dodge? Zihao gritted his teeth. You can't dodge, the magnetic storm is too dense. Ingjia, prepare. The light of the patrol boat flashed dimly, like the eyes of a wolf pack. Ingjia stepped forward, pushed open the hatch, and jumped onto the observation deck. His figure loomed in the invisibility field, his silver-gray eyes locked on the target. I'll go. He whispered. The resonance network was activated, and energy threads extended from his palm like blue tentacles, wrapping around the shell of the Thunder. The patrol boat approached, and a red scanning beam swept across it. It should have been exposed, but Ingqia's energy field distorted the light, making the ship's hull like curved stardust, and the scanner only captured the noise of the magnetic storm. They stopped. Chinchua exclaimed. The signal showed that the patrol boat thought it was cloud interference and turned around. Ingjia, you are extraordinary. Ingjia retracted the energy thread, and a rare smile flashed across his face when he turned around. Guardian's instinct. I am at home in the distortion field. Zihao patted him on the shoulder. Well done. It's the first time I've seen you work so hard. The team's backing. Yanran's eyes sparkled. The runes didn't lie, your connection reversed the crisis. The Thunder continued to move forward, and deep in the magnetic storm clouds, the outline of the dark core base gradually emerged, a fortress hidden in the asteroid shell, with lights like a poisonous honeycomb. Zihao took a deep breath and felt the pulse of growth. From working alone to trusting his partners, this road was beginning his legend. But ahead, the shadow of the rebels is still waiting for a stronger impact. Chanshua's communication rang again. Captain, the entrance to the cargo bay is close. But the internal heat signal is rising. They are alert. Be careful. The Thunder's engine roared as low as a heartbeat as it slowly approached the eastern cargo bay of the dark core base. The fortress was like a giant beast entrenched in an asteroid shell. The pitted alloy plates on its surface shone coldly, and patrol lights swept away the surrounding magnetic storm debris. Zihao stared at the entrance through the observation window. The red dots of heat signals were scurrying around on the scan, like a swarm of alert bees. Chinchua, how is the situation? Why are the heat signals so messed up? Chanshua's voice came from the communicator, a little breathless. Captain, there is a small commotion within the rebels. It may be that supplies are delayed, or they are mobilizing guards. The cargo bay door is automatically locked. I tried to hack, it worked. Disguised as a maintenance signal, the door will open for 10 seconds. Ingjia nodded, his silver-gray eyes locked on the hatch, and his energy threads had wrapped around the team's light armor like blue vines. Yes. The pulse of the Guardian will make us like dust. Yenran hugged the scanner tightly and whispered, remember, there is a monitoring blind spot in the internal channel. I marked it, but the magnetic storm amplifier will interfere, so don't rely on the instrument to go all in. Zihao took a deep breath and pressed the hatch release button. The 3 members of the team jumped out like shadows, and the Thunder's stealth module made it blend into the background. Zhonghan's voice came from the earphones, as excited as winning a lottery, "Hey, Captain. The module is as stable as an old dog, and the energy consumption is only 15%. Call me if you have anything, and I will keep an eye on the repair line from behind." The cargo door slid open a crack, accompanied by a low hiss of air pressure. Zihao was the first to squeeze in. The laser sight scanned the piled cargo boxes and maintenance arms. The air was filled with the smell of engine oil and ionization. Ingjia followed, and with a slight wave of the energy thread, the sensor behind the door flashed, and calm returned. Yenran came in last, and the door closed quietly behind them. Successfully infiltrated. Zihao whispered, "Now, let's split up. Ingjia, go to the East Wing engineering area and disconnect their amplifier. That thing will amplify the rune distortion, and all our scans will be useless. Yenran, follow me to the core data room. Qinshue, you give me the route." Ingjia's eyes flashed with hesitation, but he quickly said firmly, "Understood. The resonance network will guide me. If I encounter a Guardian variant, I will neutralize it." He patted Zihao on the shoulder, turned around and merged into the shadow passage, and his figure faded away like water waves. Zihao led Yenran to sneak along the edge of the cargo hold, his footsteps as light as a cat. The red light in the passage flashed, making the walls look like blood. Qianshua's voice suddenly sounded, rapid but steady, "Captain, turn left, there are patrols ahead, 2 of them, holding pulse guns. I will suppress your heat, but not for more than 30 seconds." Zihao nodded, pulled Yenran to hide in the cargo box. 2 rebel soldiers walked by, their boots tapped, and one of them complained, "It would be nice if the rune hunters came back to this damn place. I heard they caught a big fish, which can upgrade the splinter formation, and make the Alliance patrol ships cry." The other laughed and scolded, "Stop talking nonsense, they said there is a mole making trouble, and heat signals are running around. Finish the patrol quickly, and go back for a drink." They walked away, and Zihao breathed a sigh of relief. "The ghost? Qinshue, did you hear that? What does this mean?" "I heard it." Qianshua responded, and the knocking sound was clear. "I hacked into their low-level communication network, and there is indeed an encrypted message. Someone is leaking the base layout to the outside world. It's not an internal fight among the rebels, like a spy from the Alliance. But it's too suspicious. Why don't the rebels catch it? Captain, be careful, this may be a trap." Yenran frowned and whispered, "There is a record of a double-sided guardian in the rune prophecies. In ancient conspiracies, spies are double-edged swords that can backfire on their masters. Maybe the rebels are raising fake spies to bait us." Zihao's heart tightened, and this suspicion was like a thorn, piercing his decision-making. But he shook his head, "Regardless of whether it's true or false, we have to get the data." "Qianshua, the route to the data room? Go straight for 50 meters and turn right into the elevator shaft. Use my hacking code to pretend to be an engineering inspection. Over at Ingjia, he has arrived at the engineering area. The heat signal shows that the amplifier is running." Qianshua's tone quickened, "Wait a minute, I'll dig deeper into the system." "Oh my God, Captain! The rebel plan has been exposed. They are using relic runes to upgrade the split formation and prepare to launch a raid on the Alliance border. The target is Alpha Station. Within 3 days, the rune-twisting fleet will disable our shields and rush in like cutting tofu. There is a blueprint in the data room, and I marked the download point." Zihao's bloodline quickened, and this conspiracy exploded in his mind like a bomb. The trajectory of growth flashed at this moment before he would act impulsively, but now, his mind is spinning with strategies. Stealing data can lead to reversal. Roger. Yen ran, prepare to decode, we have to be quick. They rushed out of the cargo box and rushed along the passage. In front of the elevator shaft door, Chanshua's code took effect. The door slid open, and it was empty inside except for a low-frequency hum. At the same time, Injia was sneaking in the East Wing engineering area, with energy threads like tentacles exploring the way. The amplifier stood in the center like a tower of pulsating blue crystal, surrounded by mutant guardians, twisted clones with energy rifts in their skin and eyes as red as those of beasts. The hero's resonance network is activated, and memory fragments suddenly come in. In the ancient ruins hall, he or his prototype kneels in front of the runes, and the guardian oath echoes, the split formation is not for destruction, but for the blade of balance. But if it falls into the shadow, the galaxy will fall. In the flashback, a vague figure looks like a rebel pioneer, stealing the runes and triggering the ancient war. Ingjia shook his head, suppressing the confusion. This conspiracy continues to this day. He whispered, and energy threads were shot out, wrapped around the amplifier, trying to neutralize the field. But the alarm sounded low, and a mutant guardian turned his head and roared towards him. Ingjia dodged, his fist wrapped in blue light, hitting its breastplate, and the energy collided like thunder. Back off, he roared, and his guardian instinct caused him to reverse the distortion. The mutated body twitched, the cracks expanded, and he self-destructed and fell to the ground. Another one approached, and Ingjia's earphones sounded Zhonghan's voice. Ingjia. Your energy field fluctuates greatly, and your stealth device is interfered with. I will repair it remotely, hold on for 10 seconds. Don't let those monsters cause trouble. Ingjia blocked a blow, and the energy threads flew back. Quick. The amplifier is counterattacking. Zhonghan's laughter came, mixed with knocks. Ha, give it to me. I tuned the rune crystal, like changing the oil of a classic car. It's fixed, the field is stable. The device buzzed, Injia's invisibility was restored. He jumped up, pressed the core of the amplifier with his palm, and the resonance network poured in like a tide. The crystal tower trembled, the blue light dimmed, and the field collapsed. Ingjia gasped, and his memory flashed again. That blurry figure actually had the emblem of the Alliance. Spy, double-faced, he murmured, doubt hanging over him like a shadow. In the data room, Zihao and Yenran have cracked the door lock, the indoor screen is flashing, and data is flowing like a galaxy. Chinshua guided, the download interface is on the center console. Plug in my virus, it will hide traces and copy rune blueprints and raid plans. Yenran's fingers flew when the scanner connected, the sequence of the splitting array. They changed the core frequency to amplify the mutant legion. Weaknesses here, reversing the rune can make the entire array self-destruct. Zihao stared at the screen, and an encrypted file popped up, the communication record of the Alliance spy. The sender was codenamed Shadow Guard. The content was actually the weakness of the rebels, but it was mixed with bait, as if it was deliberately leaked to infiltrators. Is this a trap? Zihao whispered, his heart churning. Moral choices are like crossroads. If the Shadow Guard is an Alliance member, should he save or doubt him? But if it is false, it will be completely exposed. The pain of growing up is twisting in his chest. He once trusted the wrong person, which led to the loss of the last mission. Now, leadership means trade-offs. Chinshua, verify this. Is it a real spy or a bait for the rebels? Chinshua was silent for a moment. Cross-comparison. The code name matches the Alliance's old file, but the signal is delayed. Captain, I suspect it is a double agent. The rebels are using him to fish for us, and there are traitors inside to push the envelope. Yenran added, the runes show that there is always a cycle of insiders in the conspiracy. This Shadow Guard may be a descendant of the Guardian left over from ancient times, and it has been twisted. Ingjia's voice suddenly entered the communication. Captain, the amplifier is broken. But my memory flashed back. The ancient conspiracy, the source of the rebellion was an Alliance traitor, who stole the runes and planted the seeds of today. The Shadow Guard may be that bloodline. His tone was filled with rare wavering. Should we ruin the plan, or should we save him? Zihao gritted his teeth, and the faces of his team flashed in his mind. Qian Shua's fear was resolved, Zhong Han's optimism, Ingjia's loyalty. This decision is not made by one person, but for the overall situation. Get the data first. After downloading, we will evacuate the Shadow Guard and bring it back to the Alliance for investigation. But if he really has Alliance blood, we can't leave it behind. He pressed confirmation, the download bar advanced rapidly, the indoor alarm sounded faintly, and footsteps came from the passage. Qinshua said hurriedly, patrol reinforcements. Ingjia, the meeting point, the cargo bay. Zhong Han, the modules are fully activated, and the Thunder is ready to respond. Zhong Han replied, Roger. The engine is warming up, as fast as a rabbit. Ingjia rushed over, joined the team, and the energy thread protected them as they retreated. In the passage, the rebels shouted, Intruder! Seal the east wing! The laser beam grazed the wall, and Zihao pushed Yanran to dodge. Ingjia, cover! The clone turned around, and the energy wave swept out, and the three pursuers fell to the ground and twitched. They rushed back to the cargo hold, the doors sliding open and the silhouette of the Thunderbolt emerging from invisibility. Zihao glanced at the depths of the base for the last time, and the Shadow Guard's signal light was still flashing, a moral thorn piercing his path of growth. But now, with the data in hand and the conspiracy revealed, he felt the pulse of the legend stronger. Jumping onto the ship's cabin, the engine roared, and the Thunder slid out of the magnetic storm cloud. Behind him, the warnings from the Dark Core base were like a strong wind, chasing endlessly. Qinshua's voice sounded, Captain, the escape was successful. But the Rune Hunter signal is approaching, they know we are coming. The Thunder's thrusters spurted out blue flames, tearing apart the remnants of the magnetic storm cloud, like a wounded shark running wildly in the stardust. Zihao clenched the armrests of the command chair. On the observation screen, the heat traces of the Rune Hunters were approaching like ghosts. The outline of the rebel vanguard ship was distorted on the radar, and its shields flickered with rune amplification. Qinshua, I can't get rid of them. Give me a curve and go around the cracks in the asteroid belt. His voice was as steady as a rock, but mixed with a hint of urgency. This chase was like a trial of his growth, from a simple patrol to the current game of life and death. Roger, Captain. Qinshua's response came from the communication station, and the sound of knocks was like raindrops. I hacked into their navigation network and faked magnetic storm interference, turned 15 degrees to the left and went deep into the East Rift. That is the abandoned mine tunnel of the base. The heat the traces are chaotic and can be bought for 10 seconds. But be careful, the Rune Hunter has an energy hook, don't let it get entangled. Her tone was calm, but there was a hint of fatigue, and the pressure of intelligence analysis was like an invisible shackle, strengthening her trust in Zihao. Zhong Han yelled in the engineering cabin, his laughter smelling of sweat, Hey, Captain! Their laser grazed our tail fin, and the shield dropped to 72%. Give me 2 minutes, and I will use the relic crystal to supplement the frequency, like adding nitrogen to an old motorcycle to ensure that they can't catch up. His fingers flew on the control panel, and a weird hum echoed, as if the crisis was his playground. Yanran held the data chip and sat at the auxiliary station next to Zihao. The stolen files poured on the screen like a waterfall. She whispered, Captain, I'm analyzing the blueprint. The rebels' conspiracy goes beyond raiding Alpha Station. They used rune twisting to build a clone army factory. The incubation chamber deep inside can mass-produce mutant guardians, like twisted versions of the heroes, without pain or fear. With the split formation, the Alliance border will collapse. Her eyes flickered with excitement, but there was an imperceptible tremor, and the shadow of the mysterious past quietly emerged at this moment. Ingjia stood by the hatch, his energy thread pulsing gently, his silver-gray eyes staring at the rear-view screen. Their rune frequency resonates with me. There are prototype guardians on the Hunter ship. I can neutralize them, but I need to be at close range. He turned to look at Zihao. His loyalty was as strong as steel. You give the order, and I block it. Zihao nodded, feeling warm in his heart. In this team, from the first encounter in the ruins to the current life and death, he has transformed from a young captain into a leader who can weigh people's hearts. Okay, Chinchua, route confirmation. Zhonghan, shield first. Yenran, keep digging. Where's the weak point of the clone army? The thunder turned sharply and got into the cracks of the asteroid. Rock fragments rained down on it, and the hull trembled. The rune hunter's energy hook shot out and grazed the stern of the ship, sending sparks flying. The weakness is the rune sequence of the incubation core. Yenran said hurriedly, tapping the screen with her finger. Reversing it will cause the entire legion to self-destruct. But, wait, this encrypted communication, the record of the Shadow Guard, contains my old code. Her voice suddenly stopped, and her face turned pale, as if she had been struck by lightning. In the communicator, Chanshua's alarm sounded. Captain. Data cross-signal source from the Shadow Guard matches Yenran's biomarker. She is a double agent. The rebels' old files show that you leaked the Alliance patrol route during the Ruins project 5 years ago. There was a moment of dead silence in the cabin. Zihao turned around and stared at Yenran, his intuition cutting through trust like a knife. Yenran, what's going on? His tone was not angry, but firm. His growth taught him to listen first and then judge. Yen then took a step back, dropping the scanner and tears glistening in her eyes. Zihao, I was a rune hunter for the rebels. They captured my family and forced me to interpret the ruins in exchange for information. But after the ruins awakened, I escaped and joined the Alliance to atone for my sins. Shadow Guard is my old codename, and they are using it to catch you. I did not betray. Her voice was trembling, but sincere, and the mysterious past was like a flood. But the alarm blared, and the rear hatch slid open with a hiss, not a malfunction, but Yenran's communication just now, which accidentally triggered the emergency lock deep in the base. At the end of the crack, the entrance to the deep mine tunnel of the Dark Core base was exposed. Rebel guards poured out like a tide, and pulse gun fire flickered. Intruder! The Shadow Guard has taken the bait, a guard shouted, and the laser beam hit the Thunder's flank. Damn it, it's a trap! Zihao shouted, pushed Yenran away, and grabbed the laser rifle. Ingjia, protect me. Chinchua, seal the hatch and find an evacuation route. The thorn of betrayal pierced his heart, but his intuition told him that Yenran's words were true. He could not let suspicion destroy the team. The pain of growing up turned into a decision: believe her once, for the sake of the overall situation. The hero rushed forward like lightning, and the energy thread turned into a blue barrier, blocking the first wave of laser light. Captain, retreat. These guards are mutants, strengthened by runes. He punched out, blue light exploded, and one guard's breastplate shattered and he fell to the ground twitching. Zihao followed up, spraying fire from his gun and hitting the other's shoulder armor. Chinchua, mind map. We can't fight head-on. Chanshua's voice burst out from the communication, mixed with static electricity. The map has been hacked. The left tunnel, leading to the abandoned launch silo. But the rune hunters sealed the exit, and the ship was attacked. Their hooks got caught in the engine, and the power dropped by 30%. The thunder shook violently, and the hull got stuck in the fissure rock wall. Guards rushed from the depths of the mine with the sound of their boots thundering. Zhonghan's roar rang out, and his face was red with the firelight of the engineering cabin. Captain, give me firepower. I'm counterattacking. Use your relic crystals to turn into pulse bombs. He laughed, but breathlessly. His eccentric personality showed his genius in the crisis. Yenran, pass your rune code over. Reversing their enhanced field is like patching a virus. Yenran was stunned, then gritted her teeth. Okay, I'll prove it to you. She picked up the scanner, entered the sequence with trembling hands, and passed it to Zhonghan. Data flowed into the system, and the blueprint of the clone army unfolded before her eyes. In the incubation chamber deep within the rebels, countless clones awakened in the rune light, preparing to form a fleet of destruction. Zihao, the core of their legion, is at the heart of the base. Destroy it and the raid can be stopped. But I have to follow you to the end. Her eyes were firm, and the flame of atonement ignited. The guards approached, and the leading mutant beast roared, Shadow Guards, hand over the data. The split formation will spare you. The laser net was woven, anci protected Zihao, and energy waves were swept out. The 3 guards flew into the rock wall, and the sound of cracking bones echoed. They thought you were bait. Anci whispered, turned around and jumped, his fist wrapped in blue light, smashing the other's helmet. But you are ours. His role as a protective brother and loyal ally shone through the flames of war, making Zihao's heart heat up. Zihao fired back, his intuition guiding him to aim at the weak point, anci, left wing. Qinshui, is the silo open? He dodged and pulled Yanran to dodge the bullet, and the cracks in the team healed in the battle. The suspicion of betrayal turned into a tighter bond. Yanran gasped, it's open. But the guard reinforcements, the clone team, 10. As she analyzed the data, the knowledge of runes was like a weapon. Use my code, Zhonghan, to reverse their energy. Zhonghan's response was thunderous, it's done. Pulse rounds are launched, eat one of my rounds, rebel dog. The Thunder's auxiliary cannon sprayed fire, and the blue pulse swept through the mine tunnel like a tornado. The mutant clone twitched and fell to the ground, and the rune field collapsed. The ship shook and the engine resumed. Qinshui shouted, the evacuation route is clear. Turn right and rush out of the gap. But the hunter is waiting, Captain, your intuition. A strategy flashed through Zihao's mind, a hard rush would result in huge losses, and a detour would be risky. But growing up made him see clearly Yong Yanran's weaknesses. Qinshui, forge rune signals to lure hunters into the mine tunnel and collapse. Zhonghan, blow up the sidewall. He ordered, his voice was sonorous, and the team was like gears. Anci protects his wings and seals the retreat with energy threads. Yanran complements the code and strengthens the camouflage. Zhonghan detonates, the rocks roar, the mine tunnel collapses like a giant beast devouring it, the rune hunter's hook breaks, and the wail echoes. The thunderbolt jumped out of the rift, and magnetic storm clouds swallowed up the pursuers. There was gasping in the cabin, and Zihao looked at Yanran, let us investigate your past. But now, you have proved it. She nodded, with tears in her eyes, thank you. Captain. Anci patted his shoulder, continue guarding. Qinshui's voice sounded, escape. But the data shows that the clone army has been activated. Alpha station alarm, we have to rush back to the Alliance. Zhonghan scolded with a smile, next time, I will add dual engines to the ship. Zihao stared at the star map, as tough as steel. After the storm of betrayal, his leadership became pure, and the pulse of legend pointed to the final showdown. The Thunder's engine roared low, like a panting beast, sliding into the edge of the magnetic storm cloud, and the red dots on the star map gradually faded. Zihao let go of the armrest of the command chair, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and turned to look at the team. Qinshui leaned on the communication platform, still staring at the screen. Zhonghan climbed out of the engineering cabin, his face covered with oil and grinning. Yanran held the data chip, her eyes complex. Anci stood there, his energy threads slightly restrained, and a strange light flashed in his silver-gray eyes. Escaped, but the air is still filled with the aftertaste of smoke and suspicion. Everyone, sit still. Zihao spoke, his voice steady but with unquestionable strength. Let's take a breath first and integrate the intelligence. Qinshui, is the Alliance channel open? The alarm at Alpha Station cannot be delayed. He stood up and walked to the central holographic projection. With a tap of his finger, the stolen blueprint emerged, the deep structure of the rebel base, clone incubation chambers densely packed like a honeycomb, and rune veins entwined. Qinshui took a deep breath, typed on the keyboard, and an encrypted link popped up on the screen. It's open, Captain. But, the magnetic storm interference is serious, I have to detour to the relay station. Her fingers trembled slightly. The revelation of Yanran's past just now made the fear in her heart surge like a tide, not for the team, but for the unknown conspiracy. Intelligence analysis should have been her strength, but this time, the rebels' rune distortion made everything confusing. Transmitting, response from Alliance headquarters, they have confirmed the threat of the clone army and will send reinforcements, but it will take at least 12 hours to reach the border. Alpha Station has entered defense mode. Zihao nodded and frowned slightly. 12 hours? The rebel raids would not wait. He looked at the blueprint and thought, reporting is necessary, but thwarting the conspiracy himself is his way. From the young captain's patrol days to today's life and death game, he has learned not only to obey orders, but also to take the initiative. Tell them that we have key data, the weakness of the incubation core. But we won't wait for reinforcements. If the rebels' cloning plan is launched, the border will be a river of blood. I will lead the team to sneak in and destroy the core. His words were like orders, but gentle. His eyes swept over everyone, and it became his instinct to weigh people's hearts. Zhonghan wiped his hands and came over to laugh. "Ha, Captain, you are risking your life. But I agree, the thunder is damaged, the shield is leaking, and the engine power is only 65%. Give me an hour, I will repair it and add some materials." He patted Ingjie on the shoulder and teased, "Partner, lend me some of your energy filaments? With the relic crystals equipped with runes, I can strengthen the firepower and let the main gun shoot out pulse waves, like a big gift package for the rebels." Ingjie nodded slightly, and the energy thread extended from his fingertips and touched Zhonghan's toolbox lightly. Suddenly, his body shook, his silver-gray eyes closed, and lightning flashed through his mind. Incomplete memories were pieced together like fragments. The runes of the ruins, the ancient Guardian Wars, the rebels' twisted experiments, it all comes flooding back. He opened his eyes, his voice was low but firm. "I remembered everything. Captain, I am the prototype of the ancient clone Guardian. The ruins were supposed to seal us to prevent abuse. But the rebels dug it up, twisted the runes, and created a mutant army." He approached the holographic projection and pressed the image of the incubator with his palm. Blue light penetrated. The destruction plan is simple, the core rune is the source of the split array. Reversing it will cause all clones to self-destruct. Instead of blowing up the base, it will disintegrate from within. I can generate a neutralizing pulse and pass it into their energy network. But it requires close penetration. You protect me to the core. There was silence in the cabin, and then Chinchua raised her head, fear flashing in her eyes, but she gritted her teeth. "Ingjie, thank you for sharing. This changes everything." She turned to Zihao, her voice became calmer. "I analyzed the data. The rebels' weakness is logistics, their rune power supply relies on the magnetic storm cloud. If the particle flow is interrupted, clone hatching will be delayed for 24 hours. Also, there is a blind spot in the base defense. The abandoned mine tunnel in the east wing, the one we just escaped from, can bypass the main door." Her analysis is like a sharp blade, and the process of overcoming fear has allowed her to transform from a calm adjutant to a strategic core. Zihao glanced at her and nodded. "Okay, Chinchua. You are always my backing. This time, we will break the situation together." She smiled, feeling a little warmer in her exhaustion. Yanran spoke at this time, her voice soft but heavy. She stood up and turned the data chip in her hand. "Captain, let me add. Ingjie's memory is related to my past." Everyone turned their heads and she took a deep breath. 5 years ago, I did not join the rebels voluntarily. They captured me in the Ruins Project. I was originally a rune scholar of the Alliance, specializing in ancient civilizations. But the rebels used family coercion, and I was forced to interpret the runes and leak the patrol route in exchange for their safety. Shadow Guard was my code name. At that time, I thought there was no redemption. Hope? She looked at Ingjie, her eyes resonating. "When the ruins awakened, I touched the core of your seal and accidentally obtained a fragment of memory, the pure power of the Guardian, which allowed me to escape. After joining you, I kept it secret for fear of destroying trust. But now, I know, the rebels' cloning plan is a desecration of the ruins. My knowledge can help you reverse the split formation." Her revelations were like peeling back layers, and the mysterious past was connected to the ruins, deepening the bond of the team. Zihao came closer and patted her shoulder. "Yanran, your past is a shackle, but you have broken it. Prove yourself from now on." She nodded, tears shining in her eyes, and the flame of atonement became stronger. After listening, Zhonghan rubbed his chin. "Wow, this plot has more twists and turns than my engineering diary." Okay, stop talking nonsense, I'm going to repair the ship. He rushed back to the engineering cabin, tools clanking. Zihao followed and watched him dismantle the main gun compartment. The relic crystals were embedded in the rune slots, and the blue light pulsed. Captain, look at this, I used Yenron's code to fuse Ingjia's energy samples. The firepower is increased by 150%, and the pulse wave can penetrate the rune shield, like cutting tofu. The engine has also been repaired, and now we can sneak into the mine tunnel silently. Zhonghan wiped his sweat and smiled weirdly. I only built patrol ships before, now? This is a legendary modification. Zihao nodded, feeling warm in his heart. The complementarity of the team allowed him to grow from a young captain who fought alone to a hero who could gather strength. He returned to the command module, and on the holographic projection, the strategic blueprint unfolded. Listen, everyone. This is the final preparation, Qinxue. Monitor the movements of the rebels and find the best entry point. Yenran, refine the reversal sequence and ensure that Ingjia's pulse is correct. Zhonghan, after the ship is repaired, test the firepower. Ingjia, you and I will take the lead and sneak into the core. He paused, his eyes firm. The rebels think we are small players, but we have the protection of the ruins and trust in each other. This time, we don't just guard the border, we rewrite history. Qinxue tapped the screen. The entry point is locked, the east wing of the mine tunnel. There will be no patrols within 2 hours. The main force of the rebels has been transferred to Alpha Station, and the base defense is lax. Her voice no longer trembled, and fear turned into motivation. Captain, I will go with you. Intelligence is not just talk on paper, I want to witness it with my own eyes. Ingjia nodded. After my memory is restored, I feel complete. Captain, your leadership, let me be reborn. His energy thread lightly wrapped around Zihao's arm, like a brother's protection. Yenran handed over the chip. The sequence is ready. Reversing the split formation requires 3 steps: neutralization, injection, and detonation. Ingjia, you are the key, I am the interpreter. Her past is no longer a burden, but a weapon. Zhonghan poked his head out from the hatch. It's fixed. Let's test the cannon. 1 pulse, try to wipe out the asteroid. He laughed. The ship's hull shook slightly, the main cannon's blue light flashed, the rocks in the distance shattered, and the firepower was like a dragon. Zihao looked at the team, his blood boiling in his chest. From the first awakening in the ruins to the escape from the base, he is transformed, no longer a passionate adventurer, but a legendary guide. Let's go. Station Alpha, wait for us. The Thunder's engine roared, diving into the stardust, and the outline of the strategy stood out in the darkness. The rebel conspiracy is about to come to an end. The Thunder slid like a ghost into the shadow of the mine tunnel, its engines muffled to a low hum, and stardust flickered gently through the portholes. Zihao held the command stick tightly and stared at the holographic projection. The outline of the rebel base was close at hand, the honeycomb-like metal fortress hidden at the edge of the magnetic storm cloud, and the rune veins pulsating like veins. The team is in place, the air is filled with the smell of nervous electricity, and determination is written on everyone's face. Qinxue, jam the signal transmission, now! Zihao ordered in a low voice, his voice as sharp as a blade. He felt his heart beating faster, but it was not fear, it was the transformation from the first exploration of the ruins to the present, which transformed him from a simple patrol captain to a leader who could control his destiny. Qinshua's fingers flew over the communication platform, and the green light flashed on the screen. Launched, Captain. The Forged Alliance reinforcement signal slipped into their channel. The rebel communication network began to be chaotic, like a stone thrown into a swarm of bees. Her voice was as steady as a rock, and her fear had long turned into a sharp blade. The rebel response came flooding back, sirens blaring, patrol boats scurrying, but her hack disabled their missile locks and blinded the defense towers on the base's eastern flank. Their chain of command is broken and they will be paralyzed for at least 5 minutes. Commando, the window is open. Zhonghan rushed out of the engineering cabin, sweating profusely and his tool belt jingling. Captain, the Thunder's shield is stable. After the test cannon fire just now, the engine got a little hot. I added a rune cooling ring, and now it can withstand 3 salvos. He patted the console and smiled like a naughty child. Come on, Rebel, give me a challenge. On the holographic projection, the Thunder's rune main gun was charging, and the blue light condensed like a tornado. Zihao took a deep breath and pressed the launch button. All fleets, open fire. Heroes, lead the charge in. The patrol fleet, actually just the Thunder plus 2 Alliance support boats, jumped out of the mine tunnels like arrows, and the pulse waves tore through the darkness and headed straight for the outskirts of the base. The flames of the explosion lit up the starry sky, the rebel shield ships ignited one after another, and the debris scattered like a meteor shower. Ingjie stood at the door of the assault cabin, energy threads wrapping around him like a silver snake, his silver-gray eyes shining with the light of a guardian. Captain, I will lead a team of 5 people and go straight to the core of the incubation. Yenran, follow me, your interpretation is the key. He turned to the team and shouted, remember, don't fight hard, the target is the rune network. Yenran nodded, hugging the data chip tightly, with a hint of tenacity on her face. She emerged from the shadows of her past and is now the decoder of the team. Ingjie, remember the sequence, neutralize the edge runes first, and then inject the reversal pulse. I will make adjustments on the spot. The rebel's twisted version of the split array has mutations, but the Guardian's purity can suppress it. Her voice was soft but full of power, and the flame of atonement made her steps steady. The assault boat broke away from the Thunder and penetrated the cracks in the base. The space battle instantly became intense, rebel fighter jets swarmed in, and laser nets intertwined into a sea of fire. Zihao dodged a missile in the command module, causing the ship's hull to shake violently. Zhonghan, the port shield is 20% broken. Repair it. He shouted, and at the same time ordered the fleet to flank the ship to avoid the main gun bombardment. Zhonghan rolled into the repair cabin, tools dancing like lightning. Got it. This piece of shit, the runes are leaking electricity, lend me some Ingjie's energy sample. He grabbed the spare crystal and inserted it into the damaged shield module. Blue light shot up, the ship's hull buzzed, and the shield regenerated. Okay, Captain. Now it can deflect their lasers, like doing Tai Chi. The Thunder fired back, sweeping away 3 enemy aircraft with a pulse wave, and the debris hit the shell of the base, sending sparks flying. Qinshua's communication station lights flashed wildly, and she gritted her teeth. The rebels are restoring the channel, they called for reinforcements. But I planted a virus to delay their navigation. Team, the internal passage of the base is cleared, and the East Wing mine tunnel leads directly to the incubation area. Her analysis is like a precise bell. After overcoming her fear, she became the eyes of the battlefield, making every step of the team as smooth as walking on thin ice but as steady as rock. In the assault boat, Ingjie took the lead, tearing open an airlock door with energy threads. The incubation chamber unfolded like hell, countless clones were floating and sinking in the capsule, the rune light was twisted into red light, and the air was filled with the pungent smell of chemicals. Disperse. Destroy the edge capsule. Ingjie roared, and his extraordinary power exploded. He smashed a capsule with one punch, and the energy pulse spread like waves. The clone body twitched internally and disintegrated into ashes. Yenran knelt in front of the core rune and gently touched the illuminated stone slab with her fingers. This is a mutated version, the rebels added particle amplification to try to control the guardian instinct. She murmured, as the nightmare from 5 years ago flashed through her mind, the days when she was forced to interpret. But now, she is free. Ingjie, inject here. Reversal sequence is activated, neutralized blue light rushed in from her chip, the runes trembled, and the red light retreated. Rebel guards rushed in, firing laser guns. Ingjie stood in front of Yenran, his energy like a shield blocking the attack. Hold on. Team, cover her. Gunfire and explosions intertwined, and 2 team members fell, but their firepower suppressed the enemy. Yenran shouted, the second step, inject. Ingjie, your pulse. Ingjie closed his eyes, and memories came flooding back. The guardian of the ancient war, he was originally a sealed hero, but now he was reborn as an ally. The energy threads gathered into a ball and blasted into the heart of the rune. Reversal. The red light burst, the incubator collapsed like a domino, the clone's self-destruction chain reaction started, and the entire facility whined. Outside the space battle, Zihao's fleet withstood the pressure, but the rebel leader's counterattack came. A giant flagship sprang out from the clouds, its main gun charged, and locked onto the Thunder. That's their mothership. Qinshue, disable its fire control. Zihao ordered, sweat falling down his forehead. He knows that this is the key. The leader cannot be allowed to escape, otherwise the conspiracy will be rekindled. Qinshue's fingers were like wind. I tried. But they have a backup system. The virus is implanted. Give me 10 seconds. Zhonghan shouted at the same time, Captain, the engine is overloaded. Magnetic storm particle interference. I am repairing. The hull of the ship shook again, the right wing was hit by a bullet, and flames shot into the sky. Zihao stood up and grabbed his helmet. I'll go in person. Qinshue, take command. Zhonghan, hold the ship. Ingjia, is the core destroyed? In the communication, Ingjia responded, destroyed. But the leader is in the inner fortress with the last mutant clone. He wants to reverse our pulse. Zihao rushed into the landing bay, took 2 crew members, and drove a small shuttle straight towards the crack in the flagship. This is my battle. He murmured, and the trajectory of his growth flashed through his mind. From passionate exploration to the current decisive battle, he has learned to bear everything. The shuttle crashes into the flagship, the airlock explodes, and a gunfight breaks out. Inside the fortress, the rebel leader, a strong man with rune tattoos on his face, stands on a high platform, holding a twisted crystal in his hand. Boy, do you think you win by destroying the hatch? This guardian power should be mine. He laughed, and the mutant clone rushed at him like a wild beast, his eyes red. Zihao dodged a claw and fired continuously from the laser gun. Your ambition has ruined too many people. Yenron's family, the peace on the border, he shouted, his keen intuition allowing him to predict the attack and kick a clone over. An internal conflict broke out. Among the leader's men, some were shaken by the disintegration of the runes. An adjutant suddenly turned his gun and said, Chief, you have distorted the ruins. We are not monsters. The rebellion was ignited like a fire. In the melee, Zihao seized the opportunity and jumped onto the high platform. The leader roared, and the crystal shot out a red pulse, directly hitting Zihao's chest. At the critical moment, Ingjia's energy thread extends from the communication chip. Their connection is as solid as brothers. Captain. Ingjia's voice sounded, and the pulse neutralized the red light. Zihao shot the crystal with his backhand. The leader fell to his knees, the fervor in his eyes fading. Your team. He muttered, the final conflict in his heart collapsing. Zihao gasped and held him down. It's over. Hand over the remaining data, and the Alliance will give you a chance to atone for your sins. The leader nodded, and the fortress alarm gradually faded. In the communication, Qinshue shouted, Captain, the flagship is paralyzed. The team is back in position, and the main force of the rebels has surrendered. Zhonghan laughed, the ship is stable, and there is 1 pulse wave left. Do you want to give them a gift? Zihao watched the leader being escorted away, feeling warm in his heart. The team's cooperation makes the climax adventure unfold like an epic. He turned around and walked towards the landing module. Outside the starry sky, the magnetic storm clouds gradually dispersed, and the wreckage of the base sank in the light of fire. The Thunder's engines roared again, returning with victory, but Zihao knew that the legend had just begun. The Thunder's engine roared low, dragging its tired body away from the edge of the magnetic storm cloud, and the firelight in the starry sky gradually dimmed. Zihao leaned on the command chair, the sweat on his forehead had not yet dried. The melee just now made his arms aching slightly, but there was a smile on his lips. The leader is being held in a detention pod, the rebel flagship is floating like a broken iron coffin, and the surrender signal has been broadcast across the channel. Qianshua's voice rang from the communication station. "Captain, full frequency confirmation. The main force of the base is paralyzed, and the reinforcement team will arrive within 3 hours. We won." There was a rare ease in her tone, like the first ray of sunshine in winter. Zhonghan poked his head out of the engineering cabin, his face covered with oil and grinning widely. "Hey, Captain, this ship can withstand the torment. The shield is now as stable as an old dog, and I added double insurance on the rune ring. Next time we come, I will personally give them a big gift package." He patted the console, causing a buzz. Ingjie stood by the hatch, his energy threads slightly restrained. His silver-gray eyes scanned the team, with traces of battle etched on everyone's face. The Guardian's pulse has neutralized the remnants, but the echo of the ruins is still there. "I feel something is wrong." As soon as he finished speaking, the holographic projection suddenly flashed red, and the alarm pierced the tranquility like a scream. "What the hell?" Zhonghan jumped up and stared at the screen. The energy peak in the core area of the base has skyrocketed. "Is that rune overload? They have a backup plan." Zihao sat up straight suddenly, his keen intuition running through his back like electricity. He pressed the message, "Qianshua, scan the details." Isn't this a trick of surrender? The victory at the previous moment shattered like a bubble, and a chill surged in his heart. The trajectory of growth has never stopped, from the first exploration of the ruins to the present. He has learned never to take it lightly. Qianshua's fingers flew again, and the deep blueprint of the base appeared on the screen, a hidden fortress, with twisted rune radiance pulsing at its heart. "Captain, it's a super weapon. The split core pieced together by the rebels using lost technology, is driven by runes and can release a range pulse, distorting the Alliance fleet control and the entire star field. The leader didn't tell the truth. This is his insurance. Activation countdown is 2 minutes." Her voice was calm but urgent. Fear had been hardened into steel. "I tried to intercept the control code, but their firewall was like an iron barrel." Yanran rushed into the command room from the assault cabin, still holding the data chip in her hand, her face pale. "I recognize this thing. 5 years ago, they forced me to interpret part of the blueprint. This nuclear energy swallows the purity of the Guardian and turns into a wave of destruction. If it explodes, the entire border will be destroyed." Her eyes were shining with the fire of atonement, and the shadows of the past were now turned into fuel for progress. Zihao stood up, grabbed the laser gun, his eyes were burning. "We can't let it launch. Everyone listens to the order. Turn back the thunder. Ingjie, follow me and go straight to the core. Qianshua, intercept the intelligence and find weaknesses. Zhonghan, paralyze their system. Yanran, prepare the sealing sequence. Our team did not work in vain." His voice was sonorous, and his leadership illuminated the cabin like stars. Everyone nodded, and the smell of air in the air became sharp. The shuttle boat broke away again, its engine roaring as it crawled back into the wreckage of the base. Outside space, the remaining rebel fighter planes pounced like mad dogs, and the laser net weaved into a sea of fire. Zihao used the boat to dodge nimbly while shouting to the communication, "Qianshua, give me a path. The crack in the east wing, avoid the 3 o'clock turret." Qianshua responded, the virus sneaking into her screen like a snake, intercepted. Final intelligence: the core rune of the core has a blind spot, and someone within the rebels has implanted a backdoor. Wait, the signal shows that one of the adjutants is an undercover. It's not ours, it's theirs. Her analysis was like lightning, uncovering the layers of fog of betrayal. The shuttle crashed into the fortress, the airlock exploded, Zihao and Ingjie rushed out, followed by 2 crew members. In the corridor, rebel guards swarmed in, guns blazing like rain. Ingjie's energy threads exploded, cracking the air like a silver whip, sweeping away all enemies. "Captain, turn left. The core is 50 meters deep." He growled, his extraordinary strength protecting Zihao, and their brotherly connection made them one. Zihao dodged and shot, knocking down a soldier holding a gun. A brief monologue flashed in his mind: this is leadership, not being fearless, but shouldering everything for the team. He shouted, "Ingjie, cover me on the high platform. We have to destroy it at close range." The two of them joined forces, Zihao's close-quarters skills coupled with Ingjia's pulse, tearing open the defense line. The explosion shook the corridor. One crew member was shot and fell to the ground, and the deck was stained red with blood. "Hold on." Zihao gritted his teeth. The loss was like a knife, but the cohesion of the team made him more determined. The core chamber is like an abyss of hell, with the rune core suspended in the center, red light pulsating like a heart, and the air humming with whispers of destruction. The rebel adjutant, the guy who had been shaken in the melee, stands in front of the console, his face contorted. "You're late. The leader promised me power, and this core will reshape the galaxy." He laughed, pressed the activation button, and betrayal spread like a poisonous snake. "You bastard." Zhong Han's voice burst out from the communication. He had hacked into the system. Qin Shua's information helped a lot. "I implanted the rune virus, paralysis." In the engineering cabin, Zhong Han was sweating profusely, tools flying, and energy lines entangled like spider webs. "Give me 10 seconds, Captain. I'll short-circuit the power supply of this broken core, like setting off firecrackers during the new year." His genius burst out, and there was a joy of crisis hidden in his optimism. The system lights flashed wildly, and the pulsation of the core slowed down by half a beat. Yenran provided remote support in the shuttle, lightly touching the chip with her fingers. The sealing sequence is activated. "Ingjia, inject your pure pulse, and I will neutralize the mutation." Her voice was trembling but firm, and the resonance of history made her the key. The energy thread extends from Ingjia, blue light rushes into the core, and red light is like a wild beast struggling. The adjutant roared and rushed towards Zihao, the laser knife drawing an arc. "You've ruined everything." Zihao dodged sideways, and with an intuitive prediction, he hit the opponent's chin with a heavy punch, and then pointed the muzzle of his gun at him. "Your ambition will only destroy yourself. Surrender and the Alliance will give you a chance." The adjutant's eyes wavered and he knelt down, the flame of betrayal extinguished. The battle intensified, the nuclear defense tower was activated, and the energy beam swept in like a tornado. Ingjia protected Zihao. "Captain, now," he yelled, his protective instinct with completely restored memory erupted, and he gathered pulse balls with his hands and blasted them into the core. Zihao opened fire at the same time, and his strategic plan allowed him to target the weak point, destroy it. The explosion was like a starburst, the red light shattered, and debris flew everywhere. Qin Shua's shout sounded, "Intelligence confirmation, all subsystems are paralyzed." The rebel channel collapsed, and they are begging for mercy. Zhong Han laughed. "It's done. The core is short-circuited, the runes are locked, can't move anymore." Yenran gasped, "The seal is completed. The lost technology will never fall into the wrong hands." We held it." Her tears turned to joy, and the shackles of the past were completely shattered. The core room was filled with smoke and dust, and Zihao helped Ingjia up. The losses experienced by the team were like a shadow. The sacrifice of the two crew members made the air heavy. But their eyes met, and they were condensed tighter, as indestructible as steel. "We are not fighting for destruction," Zihao whispered, "but for peace. Let's go home." His leadership was at its peak at this moment, courage blended with warmth, and his growth trajectory drew a perfect arc. After the shuttle returned, the lights of the thunder greeted them, and outside the starry sky, the wreckage slowly sank. In the communication, the signal of Alliance reinforcements was like dawn. "Captain, report the details. We heard about the legend." Zihao smiled and pressed the response button, feeling a permanent bond in his heart. The conspiracy is foiled, but the adventure in the universe never ends. The engine sound of the thunder gradually became calmer, the shuttle boat slid into the main cabin, and the airlock door slowly closed. Zihao stood up from the driver's seat, patted Ingjia on the shoulder, and they walked into the command room together. There was still a burnt smell in the air, and the silhouette of the Alliance reinforcements ships was approaching on the screen, and the blue and white lights were like a welcoming galaxy. Qin Shua turned around, and the relaxed smile on her face deepened. She pressed the full frequency. "Reinforcements confirmed, Captain. They have brought a medical team and supplies." All leaders and prisoners will be handed over. Well done, Qinshue. Zihao nodded and glanced at the team. Everyone bore the mark of battle. Zhonghan's sleeve was singed, and Yen Ran's data chip was still shining with the afterglow. The shadow of loss lingered, and the loss of the 2 crew members weighed like a stone on his heart, but he knew that now was the time to heal. Everyone rests first, the infirmary takes priority. The universe will not stop because of us. Zhonghan wiped the grease on his face and laughed loudly. Captain, what you said sounded like an old man. In the past, you were always at the forefront, but now you still coax people to take a rest? Hey, I am not idle as an engineering genius. I packaged the rune virus just now into a report and waited for the Alliance bosses to read it. I will make sure their eyes drop to the floor. He patted the console, causing a buzz. His optimistic tone was like saying something homely, which alleviated the dullness of the cabin. Ingjia leaned against the wall, his energy threads pulsing slightly, and his silver-gray eyes shone with rare softness. The pulse of the Guardian has calmed down, and the echo of the ruins is over. But I feel that this is not the end. He looked at Zihao, and the brotherly connection added a touch of warmth to his words. You gave me a new life, Captain. I will stay and become your permanent ally. The protection of the new era starts from here. Zihao was stunned for a moment, then held Ingjia's hand firmly. Partners, not allies. Let's protect together. A short inner monologue flashed. From the time when the ruins first woke up to now, this clone has become an indispensable part, and his choice makes the team more complete. A few hours later, the Thunder slowly docked at the Alliance border fortress, Galaxy Heart Station. The platform was brightly lit, and cheers poured in like waves. The commander of the reinforcements, a white-haired general, came up the gangway in person. Captain Zihao, the legend has spread across the channels. The rebels' core of Split has collapsed and the border has been stabilized. Your actions have saved the entire alliance. He saluted, followed by a medical team and an intelligence officer, busy taking over the prisoners. Zihao took the lead to disembark, followed closely by his team. Qinshue walked beside him with steady steps, no longer the lieutenant who hid his fear. Captain, I have just uploaded a complete set of intelligence. The rebels' internal structure and undercover clues are all in it. The Alliance Intelligence Department said that this report can reshape our surveillance network. Her voice was confident and her eyes were shining. In the past, I was always afraid that the unknown would swallow everything up. But this time, from intercepting the control code to uncovering the betrayal, I learned that fear is not the enemy, but fuel. From now on, I am a confident intelligence officer, not a shadow hiding behind the communication desk. The general nodded and patted her on the shoulder. Young man, the Alliance needs people like you. Your analysis has helped us plug several loopholes. You are well-deserved to be promoted to Intelligence Director. Qinshue's face turned red slightly, but she straightened her back and turned to Zihao and winked. See, Captain? Everyone has a share in the team's victory. Zhonghan was surrounded by a group of engineers. They stared at the data disk he handed over and turned it over like a treasure. This rune virus is a genius. Boy, how did you come up with it? The double insurance of the shield module is simply revolutionary. A senior engineer praised it. Zhonghan scratched his head and grinned. Hey, you're welcome. In times of crisis, the brain gets hot. I short-circuited the rebels' broken core like a New Year's firecracker. In the future, I will upgrade the Alliance's fleet and add my rune rings to ensure it is as stable as a mountain. The general laughed. Engineer Zhonghan, your contribution is known to the top of the Alliance. The task force invites you to join, specializing in the integration of lost technologies. There will be no more loopholes at the border. Zhonghan clenched his fist and shouted to the team excitedly. Did you hear? My skills are finally recognized. Zihao, it's thanks to the opportunity you gave me, otherwise I would still be tinkering on the patrol ship. His eccentric character became cute at this moment, and the team's laughter rang out, diluting the fatigue of the battle. Yenran walked at the end, holding a new chip with clear eyes. She stopped and whispered to Zihao, Captain, it's time for me to confess. It was no coincidence that the rebels captured me 5 years ago. My family is a researcher of ruins. They used threats to force me to interpret the rune blueprint for the core of Split. After I escaped, I hid the past and joined the patrol fleet to atone for my sins. But this time, from recognizing the core to launching after breaking the seal, I finally faced it. The past is not a shackle, but a lesson. Her voice was soft but firm, with a hint of calmness on her beautiful face. Now, I will devote myself to researching peaceful applications. Lost technology should not be destroyed, but should be protected. I will devote myself to the Alliance's relic project and let the runes become bridges, not weapons. Zihao stopped and looked at her seriously. Yenran, you have been the key to the team from the beginning. Your revelation is not the end, but a new life. The Alliance will support you, and so will we. Yenran smiled, tears shining. Thank you. From fearing the unknown to embracing secrets, this growth is worth it. The celebration ceremony was held in the square of Galaxy Heart Station, with the Alliance flag flying under the starlight projection. Hundreds of crew members gathered in a circle, and it was as lively as an old temple fair. The general raised his glass. Here's to Captain Zihao and the Thunder team. The rebel conspiracy has been completely collapsed, and peace has returned to the border. Not only have you defeated the threat, but you have also awakened the lost power and ushered in a new era. There were thunderous cheers, the clinking of wine glasses, and the air was filled with the aroma of barbecue and energy drinks. It is the tradition of the Alliance to always have a down-to-earth celebration after a victory. Zihao stood on the high platform, with Jia beside him and Qianxue, Zonghan and Yenran surrounding him. Looking at the team, he felt warm in his heart. Short monologue, from the young captain's routine patrol to triggering the alarm, exploring the ruins, awakening the heroes, and infiltrating the rebels, this journey is as long as the galaxy. He was once an adventurer passionate about the unknown, and now he has transformed into a legendary hero of the universe. His leadership is not only courageous, but also blended with warmth and balance. Loss taught him to cherish, betrayal made him understand people's hearts better, and victory proved the team's invincibility. Partners, he raised his glass and said loudly, this is not my legend, it is ours. From the ruins of the ruins to the smoke of the base, we grow together and protect together. The peace of the Alliance starts from the border and extends to the end of the galaxy. Qianxue responded, yes. Next time the alarm sounds, I will be the one to navigate and everyone will follow. Zonghan laughed, my shield is guaranteed to be airtight. Yenran smiled, the runes will shine for peace. Jia nodded, the protection will last forever. In the square, laughter and chatter filled the air, and someone played ancient earth ballads, and the rhythm was as exciting as a pulse. Zihao looked at the starry sky, and the harmony of the team was like the eternal stars. The shadow of the rebels dispersed, and the dawn of a new era rose. They are not lone heroes, but each other's pillars, guarding the peace of this universe. The adventure may not end, but the satisfaction of this moment will remain in my heart forever.